What's up, everyone? Welcome to the July 6th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, use the code AWESEMO when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. You'll receive one free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. You'll also receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on your first deposit. We have an 8-game MLB slate tonight. Some weather concerns potentially, so be sure to keep an eye out on those. We'll touch on them more on the Live Before Lock show. But right now, it seems like every game should be good to go. And I'm going to assume that's the case for the purposes of this video. So as usual, we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers on FanDuel using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the Stokastic.com website. Starting with the top 3 stacks, number 3, the San Francisco Giants are taking on Merrill Kelly. Kelly struck out 19.6% of hitters with a 4.05 xFIP so far this season. The Giants' active roster has a 170 ISO and a 112 WRC+. They're projected for about 4% ownership, with a 7% chance of being the top scoring stack and also a 12% chance of being the top value stack. Number 2, the Houston Astros taking on Brad Keller. Keller typically is able to do a decent job of limiting power, but that's difficult to do against the Astros. He doesn't miss many bats. He's only struck out 15.6% of hitters this year. He has a 4.28 xFIP. The Astros active roster leads all of baseball with a 124 WRC+. They also lead the league with a 205 ISO. They're projected for about 5% ownership, with an 8% chance of being the top scoring stack. And number 1, the Atlanta Braves taking on Miles Mikolas. Mikolas is another pitcher that does a good job typically of limiting power, but also doesn't miss a ton of bats. 19.8% strikeout percentage, going up against a Braves roster that has a 202 ISO, which is the second highest in baseball. They also have a 114 WRC+. They're only projected for about 3% ownership, with an 8% chance of being the top scoring stack. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Merrill Kelly on the other side of that matchup against San Francisco. It's a difficult matchup for him, but he's also only getting 2% ownership with a 7% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. The Giants' active roster does have a 22.4% strikeout percentage to go along with the very strong production that they offer. Number 2, Josiah Gray, risky matchup against the Philadelphia Phillies in Philadelphia. Good hitting team, good hitters park, but Gray does have a 25.4% strikeout percentage for the season. That is certainly a respectable mark. 4.36 xFIP, does give up too much power. Very, very risky. It's likely that he struggles, but the Phillies are missing Bryce Harper. Their active roster has a 22.7% strikeout percentage, only a 101 WRC+. So it is a relatively high upside spot for Gray, even though it comes with plenty of risk. He's only projected for 3% ownership with a 7% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. And number 1, Max Fried, $10,400 price tag, taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. This is an extremely difficult matchup as the Cardinals have a 121 WRC+ and only a 19.8% strikeout percentage on their active roster. But Fried is very good, and he's only projected for 5% ownership. He has a 10% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. Fried has struck out 23.9% of hitters with a 2.86 xFIP so far this season. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks: number 3, the San Francisco Giants; number 2, the Houston Astros; number 1, the Atlanta Braves; and the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Merrill Kelly; number 2, Josiah Gray; and number 1, Max Fried.